Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the channel again, or welcome back to the channel. I am Aesop Grimm, and this is the continuation of my blind playthrough of RDR2 in 2025. If I'm not mistaken, this is your Wednesday episode. Things are really starting to come together. We're pushing 60% done now, and this last several from like 49% to wherever we're at now has gone kind of quick. So it feels like the game's moving at a quicker pace now. Last time that we were told, okay, Deadeye ability improved. Fatal areas will now be highlighted while you are in Deadeye. Oh, okay, that's good to know. We were to meet Sadie Andrews to go and rescue John. And the way that the last episode ended, it's clear that this is there's a sense of urgency here. John's in prison. Dutch is so oversaturated that the term that we've used in the military before is that his plate is past full and stuff is sliding off, and John is one of them. He's under a lot of mental it's not that he has so many things to handle. He does have a lot to handle, but in addition to that, he is really stressed out. So he's at like a reduced capability level. So we need to step in for him and help take care of John, or John could find himself running out of time. And that's what, I forgot his wife's name. That's what she's worried about.
How are you, boy?
So he's in the jail right now facing hanging. So Sadie told us to meet her at, I forget what she said, but her marker's on the map. Thank goodness it wasn't me in real life, right? There's an inn out here that she wants us to meet her at. Now, we're still underweight. We're going to have to plus this camp up on food and ammunition eventually, but I don't know if that's available right now.
Yeah.
But certainly for ourselves, we need to eat. So, let's see. Do I have any food? Okay, I do have some food, so hit yes on autosave, and let's maybe make sure that I am as bad off as I think I am. Yeah, we're underweight. I believe I remember our horse was okay. He's clean and calm and fit. Okay. So we ate the plain game bird. Eat another. I don't know what that was. I thought it was strawberries. Yep, I was right. I'm gonna eat actually 2 cans of beans. I'm gonna grab a second can of fruit as well. Some pineapples. And don't think this is gonna do anything for me. Cores. All my cores are good to go, so that's not really gonna help me out at all. Yeah, okay. So I think we're good. Also, it's worth noting that Arthur is coughing more, and at the end of last episode, he coughed hard. This almost looks like a toy building, man. He coughed hard enough that Dutch actually noticed and asked him if he was all right. So I think that's significant. It's letting us know that other people are beginning. It's kind of like, it's going to be a weird example, I guess, but yeah. But there's a document to explain here. I'll give you the example here in a minute when we get back on the road. Where's it at? And we gotta go meet Sadie. Here we go, inspect structure. Tiny church. A very small church for a very small congregation. Yeah. It's almost like it was built for kids or dwarves. You know, I don't know. I don't know which. But that's an interesting place. Can we open this door? Oh yeah, everything is miniaturized. Huh. Alrighty then. Okay, so the kind of weird example I was going to give you was, oh, there we go. Hold on. I keep running into stuff that I feel like I need. Eventually, I'll finish this story with you. Oh, it's a 1-star. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you decide to go to the gym and you're going to get fit, right? Let's say that you're young. Like I'm not really young anymore, but let's say you are. When I say young, I mean you're within the years that you can expect to be able to pack on muscle. This is from a guy's perspective, right? And that's what you want to do. So you go to the gym and you start working out. The first few weeks, I'd say the first couple weeks maybe, even though you're going to the gym on a routine schedule, you're working out at least 3 times a week, more likely 5 or 6. You don't really notice any changes. All right. Certainly week 1 and possibly even week 2. By, I would say, no later than week 3, possibly as early as week 2, depending on where you're at and how your body acts, you will start to notice changes. Like while you're taking a shower, you might bring your leg up to go wash your feet, and you notice that your calves are more defined than what they were. But nobody else notices, right? It's still a mystery to everybody else. By the time you get to about, okay, so from week 3 to like through week 4 and maybe week 5, those changes that you're noticing get bigger. So you're kind of like, you're motivated. You're noticing stuff, you know? It's small stuff, but you know that it's different because you know your own body. By week 6, week 5 or 6, other people start commenting and tell you, hey, your shoulders look good or something like that, right? That's kind of what's happening here, is that Arthur is now to the point that other people are noticing his cough. Man. Oh my gosh.
Mister.
That's like dry land drowning, man. He fell out the saddle.
Mister, are you okay? Mister, are you okay? Are you okay, mister? Mister, you don't look so good. Let's get you to a doctor. Come on, it's not far. Just down the street here.
All right. I hope we didn't get this guy sick, man. I think we'd have to cuff.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, see, I think we'd have to cuff blood into his face.
I'm fine.
Nearly there, just around this corner. Now you head in there, friend. Go on.
Thanks. Thank you, man.
Can I help you?
I need a doctor.
Oh, just 1 second, sir.
Come in, pal. Come in.
Mister, I need some help.
And so it seems. And that's Doctor, Mister to you?
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
I was joking. Look, friend, I don't mean nothing, but you got money? I mean, before I start treating you, 'cause I got a family.
Yeah, I understand. Here, that do you?
Sure. Thank you. Now, what's wrong? I mean, what appear to be the symptoms?
Well, I think you've heard them. I'm coughing.
Is there any blood?
Sometimes.
Okay, now here. Breathe. Again. Yeah. Let me see your tongue. Now say ah.
What is it?
It's not good news.
I guess that.
You got tuberculosis. Really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing.
What you mean?
You're real sick. It's a progressive disease, and you'll be... Now, the best thing is rest, and getting somewhere warm and dry, and taking it easy. Now, is that possible?
Sure, I can just take my winters in my country club in California. No, it's not possible.
Well, like I said, I'm real sorry.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, wait. Let me get you a little bit more energy today.
Yep, heavy news, man. So Arthur knows he's dying. So he finds out at about 60% of the game. How far can he make it, man? I mean, that sounds like he on death's
We
door.
can't change what's done. We can only move on.
I tried calling for my horse, it won't let me. That sounds like he's on death's door.
You have it in you, I can tell.
And the doctor kind of seemed to indicate that as well.
He didn't have a choice. He was good and he did good.
Yep, that was the one right there.
I understand if you don't want to help me, but I think of you often.
Ah. So maybe that's gonna be like kind of a theme. Maybe we'll have some future sort of dream states like this. He ain't dreaming, but he's in a mental fog, I think. You are sick. While sick, you will only gain the benefit from consuming a limited amount of food and drink. Oh gosh. Well, here's where Sadie's at. So yeah, we're less than 60% through. I wonder how fast this is all gonna progress, you know? I don't mean to be so chatty. There's a lot going on.
Any problems coming in?
Nah.
Guess they know now we ain't in the city.
Who, Mr. Milton's friends?
Yeah, they've had patrols out ever since you boys disappeared. Well, at least you're alive.
For now, yeah.
What happened in,
Guama?
yeah,
Nothing nice.
what happened to Dutch? Because he seems...
I don't know. Seems as what began happening in Blackwater began happening years ago, maybe. A slow decline, I guess.
What do you mean?
I ain't quite sure. What happened here?
I couldn't tell what he
I started
said there.
gathering people up as best I could after you boys left. And John, you know that part.
I do.
And Hosea.
So that too.
Hell, we got Lenny's body out as well. Arrived the morgue and buried them together.
I think
Follow
maybe
me.
he said, so declined, I guess. She said, what do you mean? He said, I don't know. I think that's what he said. But it was hard for me to tell. Oh, okay. I speed up, she speeds up. Here we go.
So, what's your plan here?
Well, I figure before we do anything, we need to make sure John's even still at this prison.
And how do we do that?
We need to get up high enough to get a proper look at the place.
What? It's on an island, ain't it? Unless you're planning on learning how to fly.
That's exactly what we're gonna do. I found us a hot air balloon.
You ain't serious.
Now, the pilot, or whatever you call him, he thinks we're just in it for a lesson. Bit of a tour. He's quite the character. I think you'll like him.
You know, I'm impressed. You really stepped things up, ain't you?
Hey, we didn't know if you was even coming back. Whole thing hit folks real hard. You can see it. Heron's gone falling fully into the bottle. Strauss is a bag of nerves. Swanson's actually gone and cleaned up his act. So I guess it ain't all gone to shit. I'm just happy you boys were able to find us. Javier said he got the letter I left at the post office.
That was a good idea.
Until the Pinkertons showed up. Oh, by the way, I've been hunting O'Driscoll boys. Killed 2 of the sons of bitches at a campsite last week.
What?
Yeah, seems they've drifted down this way now.
You're a busy woman, Sadie Adler.
She a beauty, ain't she?
From here on the ground, yes.
Mr. Bullard? Mr. Bullard.
Ah, Mrs. Adler! It's good to see you. Good to see you.
This is my friend I told you about, Mr. Morgan.
Ah, yes, Arturo Bullard. At your service, sir. At your service.
Arthur Morgan.
Well, it's a nice, fresh day for flying, sir. A day like today, an Icarus would have made it across the sea. Have you ever flown before, sir?
No.
Oh, it's quite a thing. Quite a thing. Now, put these on and hop in.
Well, ain't she coming?
Well, women can't fly, sir. Are you insane?
They can't.
Oh, no, sir. It does terrible damage to them, to their vapors. I thought everyone knew about that. Why, a delicate flower like Mrs. Adler? Heavens above or below.
Where'd you find this guy?
I told you two would get on.
Are you sure about this?
Certain, sir. Quite certain. Mrs., let us away. Wish us luck. I've only crashed twice. Now, pull on that rope and hope for the best.
All right.
Boys have fun.
The ascend prompt right
How did
trigger
you
shows
get
your
out of
current
this?
altitude as it fills. The yellow marker shows the desired altitude.
Right.
Okay.
Time to catch a few vapors of our own. It's a little overcast, but I'm expecting some good wind once we're high enough. We should still have some decent views over the river. Now, one hates to be coarse, but on the subject of ablutions, liquids over the side, solids, do your utmost to levy the situation until we land.
Okay, Mr. Bullard.
I had a client once who fell foul to a rotten oyster on the ascent.
Oh no.
Decidedly harrowing experience for all involved.
Whoa.
Keep going, sir.
I could
we
see
need to get
that.
up above the clouds. It really is stunning up there. You'll have seen nothing like it.
What a surreal experience after finding out you're dying, huh? This is Arthur's life is moving at the speed of light, man.
All right, then. Let's break through these clouds.
Oh. My God.
You are at the altitude
Heavenly
with
indeed.
best wind flow.
Quite
Remain at this
remarkable, isn't
altitude
it?
to keep your speed up.
Feels like we have a nice westerly wind, so keep her around this height. This particular vessel is state-of-the-art, sir. Imported from Europe. Won't find more than a couple of these on this side of the pond.
So
Okay,
long
we
as
can
it
let
works.
off now.
Maybe ease off the throttle there, sir.
You sure you shouldn't be doing this?
No, not at all. A child could operate this with a little supervision. Besides, Mrs. Adler told me you were very keen to learn the ropes. Plenty of those.
She did she?
Learn the ropes. I wonder if that's where that adage came from. Is stuff like this where you needed to operate ropes. Can I control
Arthur
where we're
and
going?
Arturo. How perfect is this? My mother was a keen student of the Italianate. My brother's called Baldessario, so you could say I got off lightly.
Look, I'm trying to concentrate here.
Whoa there. No need to go any higher.
And we're up above the birds. Okay.
That's better. Look, we can see for miles now. Did you breakfast in the city this morning, Mr. Morgan?
Not exactly.
Well, I have a boiled egg in my pocket here that you're very welcome to.
I think I'm all right, thank you. Recalling the ablutions discussion.
Well, just say the word.
Well, there's the prison up and to the right. I would imagine this dude doesn't
So,
know
if
that
I
we're
may
scouting
ask,
prison.
What got you interested in the pursuit of aviation?
I didn't, exactly. Mrs. Adler thought she'd surprise me.
Ah, a very nice woman. And no shrinking violet.
Definitely not.
I prefer slightly more feminine attire on a lady, but variety is the very spice of life, as they say. Or is it, though? Did you know they locked up the man who wrote that in a mental asylum?
I did not, Mr. Bullard.
Okay, we're getting a little high now. See that building up ahead on the island? That's the infamous Sisika Penitentiary. We shouldn't fly too near to it, though, sir.
Sorry, we're going in for a closer look.
What do you mean? Mr. Morgan, please, this is most irregular.
Well, you want a happy customer, don't you?
Look, this isn't funny now. What on earth are you doing? The guards are bound to spot us.
Calm down. They won't care if we stay high enough. I'm just looking for a friend of mine.
A friend?
Poor bastard has a habit of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I heard they got him working the fields in a chain gang.
Dear God.
Okay, we can start picking out individuals. Everybody kind of looks the same.
The wind. Well, this is most unusual.
Relax, Mr. Bullard. Here, take over. Keep us well away.
I'll do my best. This filly isn't the easiest to control, you know.
Nope, not there.
Him?
This was not
No.
the tour I had in mind.
Best try another spot.
There are also some to your right.
That's not him.
No.
We look a little suspicious, wouldn't you say?
That could be him.
Where? Oh, there,
Yep,
yeah.
That's him.
Yep.
Ah! My God!
What are you doing?
They're shooting at us!
I can see that.
Ascent! Ascent! Ah! Didn't I tell you this would happen? The wind speed is picking up. We should stay at this altitude. It's heading northwesterly, so that should take us back to land. Yeah, God, I'm shaking like a leaf.
Alright, we're in the clear now, Mr. Bullard. You can get up.
Good Lord, my heart is pounding. I must say, the specifics of this job were not described to me at all sufficiently.
Well, it's done now.
There's Annesburg.
Sure.
Good Lord, is that Mrs. Adler?
Where?
Being chased.
Uh-oh, O'Douls.
Yes. Try and get us near.
Will there be more trouble, sir?
I
Oh,
expect
yeah.
so.
I'm starting to rather enjoy this.
Oh, that's not Sadie.
Hey, Sadie! Up there!
You're just in time.
Shit, they're O'Drick.
Mrs. Adler happens.
Ah, man, that's...
Yes, she does.
Let's just do it this way.
I think I might need to adjust my feet.
What was she thinking, messing with the O'Driscolls right now?
Well, she's a bit of a woman of action. No patience, evidently. Not a lot.
Most excitement I've had in years.
And doesn't mind handling her stuff herself, I guess. She probably walked into a hornet's nest here.
Just ride, I'll deal with him.
This is your last fight, mister. What a day! You showed him, Mr. Morgan.
He's rooting for us. Okay. Where at? Oh my gosh, bro. That's terrible, man.
Sadie! Grab the rope, come on! Grab the rope!
This case, you'll be losing a limb to the sepsis.
Use the rope to pick up Sadie.
Okay, I'll come down and get you on the other side.
You're too high! Shit! Nearly there! All right, hold it there, Arthur! Got him! Up! Let's get out of here!
Holy smokes, guys. What an adventure.
Pull me up!
Lift. What about the balloon, man? We need to rise also.
Arthur!
Come on, Wildcat. Alright. You're alright. She's real lucky he didn't cough in her face, though.
I think we're gonna crash.
Arthur's like
habit of seeing the obvious, Arthur.
a vector of disease now.
Did you break your neck?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Damn it, look! There's more of them on the other side. They must have followed us. Get behind something. This ain't over yet. These goddamn O'Driscolls!
You can't leave it for one day?
Just kill these sons of bitches!
Yeah, she does have the blood vendetta.
Hope you ain't got far to go.
You're all gonna pay for what you did! Get behind!
Oh, she said behind us.
Another one in him. You boys are a goddamn joke! God damn it! We got more coming out of the woods there!
All right. Fall back. Bad time for a reload.
Send every last son of a bitch you got! You ain't goddamn man! How many of you does it take, huh?
Bad position for me. There's just no cover. Flanked on every side. We're surrounded. Look at all this, man. Where the heck do I go to face the enemy? Come on. Shot right through the liver on that one.
Come on, let's go get these sons of bitches! Nearly there! Only a few of them left! Look at those cowards! Yeah, you run! I'll catch up with you soon enough! Looks like we made it. That'll show them.
The hell is wrong with you? I only left you an hour ago. You can't stay out of trouble for one goddamn hour. You got that poor bastard killed for his troubles. I kinda liked him.
They got Combe, the government. They got Combe O'Driscoll. They're gonna hang him in Saint Denis.
Hanging. Okay.
He's already been tried twice for murder and found guilty.
Sure, no doubt he'll escape again.
No, he won't, because we're gonna make sure of it.
We have our own problems with the law in case you ain't noticed.
Dutch will want to see him swing.
Sure, Dutch, he wouldn't even help us with Marston. And our situation is really messed up right now. You know how things is.
Bastard's gonna swing. I'm gonna make sure of it.
Closely followed by Marston.
You saw him?
Yes, in the fields.
Okay. Then we go rescue him.
From a state penitentiary?
No. But from the fields? Yes. That we can manage.
It's well guarded.
Guarded, sure, but not behind bars.
No, it's not behind bars.
So, that's how we'll do it. Bust him from his work detail.
I guess.
It's best just the two of us go.
The two of us is all there is, anyhow.
Good, because two is all we'll need. I'll get us a boat, a little one, and we'll sneak in and get him out of there. Meet me at Copperhead Landing. Thank you, Arthur.
Whatever you say, boss.
I heard that.
You know, that sounds like a lot of sand and no plan. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you got plenty of guts. You're courageous enough to take the initiative, but do you have a brain cell in your head? Putting an actual plan together, or are you just willing to put yourself in harm's way over the flip of anything?
Yep.
Well, I guess that's how it's gonna be, so there will be a plan in place. Alright, we're going to, where are we at? 34 minutes? What's the map look like, guys? I kind of feel like we need to do some hunting. First of all, where's our camp at? How do I find my way back home? Okay, this is the camp. I need to put a marker here. There we go. That's the new camp. Yep, Laquais. Little tiny church. Where are we? We're right here. Well, I guess we're gonna make our way home and try and shoot deer on the way. Poor condition. Okay. Right stick while they are selected in the weapon wheel. And we need to clean it. Okay, might as well get the others. Maintain. Alright, let's clean that up. Stick. Okay. Bring the repeater back up, or no, I like the Springfield, it hits harder.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll find anything, it might be too dark now. Alright, well at 37 minutes, I think we'll spend the rest of the time hunting, and I'll talk to you about a little bit of news that I heard recently. It's a current event. But we have another thing brewing here in America that involves race. It's my belief that there are people in international communities with a lot of money and influence. I'm talking people like George Soros. I'm not saying that it is George Soros, but people of that nature, right? Or if you're a lefty, maybe the Koch brothers, right? I don't know. No, I don't know if I can make... I don't know enough. I'm not under the impression that these two are equated. George Soros has crashed national economies and is clearly activist-driven and does things to shape how nations work through subterfuge. I think the Koch brothers also shape how this nation at least works, but they do it through campaign finance and pushing their candidates forward. And that's how they use their influence. To me, those are two different things, right? But what I'm trying to say is that there are, in my opinion, people in the international community with ways and means that are highly interested, highly organized and funded, or they do the funding, to sow division within multiple nation states, because I think this is happening in both France and the UK and Germany as well, where they use race, they use racial division and racial strife to stir people up and get them at each other's throats.
Yep.
And so they'll use people like puppets. I'm kind of suspicious that that's a little bit of what's at play here. If that's not what drove this outright, then certainly I think that these people are opportunistic enough to seize upon a situation when it unfolds for them to, instead of making it about simply one person committing a crime against another, it now becomes about racial injustice. Again, in order to get the wider population really busy and at each other's throats and not focusing, not unifying and not focusing on who their common enemies are. That's what I think is going on. I keep mentioning it, guys, that I cannot remember the name of it, but there is an actual political theory that advocates just exactly this sort of thing. And it has a Wikipedia page. Now, I'm not mentioning Wikipedia in terms of it's a good academic source. It is decidedly not a good academic source. I'm mentioning it because a lot of times my commentary has to do with what the left does that's disingenuous and disgusting and anti-human. And Wikipedia is a leftist site, so if the leftist site itself is reporting that this exists, it gives a little bit more credence. I hope that makes sense, right? And I think it might be called animosity politics or retribution politics. It's just the name kind of eludes me, and I want to move on to more of what's happening. Oh, look here.
There we go.
We just need food. Oh, we shot that thing in the shell. I kind of shot him in the foot, but that seemed to have done the trick. So Carmelo Anthony is a Texas high school kid, black, who was on the football team with his school and on the track team. Now, I feel real bad here. Oh, Austin Metcalf. I was about to say, I can't remember the other kid's name because I see Carmelo's name in the news. Carmelo's still alive. Austin Metcalf is not. So what happened is that they were having Austin Metcalf was also a football and track student in high school. And they were competing against each other at a state high school event. There were multiple schools there, is my understanding. All right, I don't actually want to go into camp. And Carmelo originally was sitting, I think if I've got this right, he was sitting at a private tent, not a school tent, where evidently he had stowed a large knife that he put into his backpack. And then he went and sat under this rival team's tent that Austin Metcalf was part of. That was called Memorial High School. Carmelo went to, I believe, Centennial High School. So Carmelo, being a Centennial athlete, went and sat under the Memorial High School's tent.
You look like a damn fool.
That's clearly a breach of etiquette and insightful. You're competing against each other, right? So Austin Metcalf told him to get out of there, basically. Hey, you're in the wrong tent, man. Go back to your own tent. I don't know exactly how it was phrased. Carmelo resisted. The two got into an argument. It ended up being that Carmelo put his hand into his bag and said, touch me and see what happens. Well, eventually Austin pushed him to get him out of the tent. And Carmelo at that point in time drew the knife out of his bag and stabbed Austin once in the chest, evidently entering Austin's heart, and it killed him. Now, Austin had a twin brother whose own words were, I watched my brother's soul leave his body in my arms. So we have some video of this. I haven't really gone seeking it out, but other people have looked. I just don't like to watch people get killed, you know. But some other people have looked at it, and basically what you have is you have this kind of big argument happening on the internet over whether Carmelo Anthony was acting in self-defense. Now, there's a little bit more to this that I should have told you. Carmelo immediately fled the scene. Oh, okay. I'm not saying anything about that. Some people are going to say that indicates he's guilty, and apparently in Texas, fleeing the scene, I mean, in a lot of trials, if I were a juror, and you fled the scene, I would think that that kind of shows a guilty conscience. But when you're dealing with kids, now these are older kids, they're 17, you know, remember I'm come from the military. At 18 years old, you can join the military. I am very, very used to dealing with 18-year-olds, and I don't agree with people who think of 18-year-olds as kids. You're a young man or a young woman at that point in time. I don't care what society has done or how long kids stay kids these days. If me, as a former supervisor in the military, I have seen it time and time again. I don't care how immature you are. You're 18 years old or older, I can absolutely throw you in the crucible. And as long as you ain't got nothing going on upstairs that's funny, you will respond. And you'll grow up in a hurry. I can make that happen. I can put your maturation process on expedite. So
Whoa, okay, boy.
Doggone it, we gotta deal with this.
Could you free me, please? I'm tied up here. You're one of the good ones, ain't you?
Well,
Oh, Lord.
today I am.
Will you get me out of here?
Oh,
Will
good
you
grief.
get me away from these
Fine,
men?
lady, okay.
Anything I can do to help you in your time of need, man.
Come on,
I'm in
sweetheart.
residence in Hansburg.
Oh.
That ain't too far. Oh, you bastard!
So this was her wagon. Alright. Well, where'd she run? I guess whenever I looted the bodies, she felt like I was a bad guy.
Hey, boy.
Which is weird because they were just trying to kill her. Rob her, rape her, you know, all of the above. Okay. So, I tell you what, let's set camp. Let's go up a little bit. Because I would like to do some hunting. Alright, so where I left off was, I don't agree with people that think of 18-year-olds or older as kids. I get it if you're older and you kind of refer to them as a kid, but to literally believe that they're children, no. No, you're wrong. You're just flat wrong. I've taken kids that were, or 18-year, I've taken young adults who acted like kids and shaped them really quickly into adults. They respond excellently. The thing that went wrong was that mommy and daddy kept them a child for a really long time. So spare me. You know, you're just flat objectively wrong. That's
Easy
not
now.
subjective. I've tested it. So we're going to set camp right here. Let's see, where is my camp option? Huh. Horse. I don't have I can't set camp. Perhaps I'm forgetting how to do this. I guess we're not. Alright. Well, I'll just keep on with the story then. So, I'm just kind of telling you what else happened. So, Carmelo Anthony runs. He gets arrested shortly after. Tells the cops immediately, I'm not alleged, I did it. Claims self-defense and asks if Austin was okay. They told him Austin's dead. He asked, do I have enough here to claim self-defense? It's something like that. I may not getting everything perfect, but I'm getting it really close. All right, so these are, in my opinion, kind of important things, you know. Asked about Austin's welfare, owned up to it right away, claimed self-defense right away. Those are things I think that the defense will probably use. And what's going on nationally is that you got a lot of people starting to stir this thing up, kind of like George Floyd, to get particularly black people, because in my opinion, and I'm going to try to say this accurately, but a certain significant, sizable segment of the black population is so wired to look for racism that they'll excuse anything. I just think that that's the truth. What we've got happening right now here in recent years that I think is really cool, I actually seek this out to keep from having my own bias cemented or anything like that. I try to guard against. I'm aware of how stereotyping works, you know, and I don't want people that I believe are trying to socially engineer us to be at each other's throats to be effective with me. And so there's a number of black people out there that have done accounts that have gone over this case and been like, Carmelo Anthony is not innocent here. All right, so what I found as I was just looking into this, well, I haven't told you the whole story yet. I haven't got you up to current day. So this thing sat in the background for a while. Carmelo Anthony's family put up a GoFundMe, and I think somewhat ashamedly, but you can't, people have a right to do what they want to do. I'm also very skeptical about the sources that these came from, but they raised something like $60 million. They went and bought a new house, and they got a bunch of new stuff with it. And I think there's more than likely big amounts, large donations did not even come from black people. I think they came from these groups that I was telling you about, these shadowy groups that work in the background that made a donation of, you know, $3 million here, 10 million there, 500,000 a couple other places through anonymous donators, right? So that they can't be traced. I think a whole bunch more people are white liberals who are very, very, very programmed at this point in time. We have something over here called white guilt that some people have really fallen into. And so I'm not saying that black people haven't donated in large amounts, but I would be very suspicious that this is by and large black people that have raised this amount of money for Carmelo Anthony. I think there's a lot of subterfuge happening here. I don't have anything to base that off of. It's just my instinct. And so we're coming up towards the end of this episode, so let me go ahead and push forward a little bit. So he raises all this money, or the family does. There's a number of other things that have happened too in the news media that are kind of shameful in my opinion, like Austin Metcalf's dad showed up at a press conference and that was sneered at kind of nationally, and the guy was run out of there. But Carmelo Anthony's dad was allowed to speak and then said some nasty things about Metcalf's dad. Yeah, this is just kind of low rent, low brow, kind of disgusting stuff. Carmelo Anthony was allowed to graduate. Metcalf's dad had a problem with that, of course. I could understand that. Without assuming guilt, you know, but I'm telling you, like, from the way that everybody's talking about it, it's not looking good. Good night, kiddo. I didn't realize you was still alive. Man, I'm real sorry about that. We need to eat to get that health back. Oh yeah, so eating for him is a bit of a problem. He can make himself more sick that way, evidently. Alright, well I don't have a 3-star here, but I've got some meat. So all of that was kind of unfolding as in the background a grand jury decided if Carmelo was going to be charged, and if so, what would he be charged with? Well, that news came out, and the grand jury has decided that Carmelo Anthony will be tried. He'll be tried as an adult, and he'll be tried for what Texas calls capital murder. Now, there are some nuances with how Texas does things. It's kind of context-based. I don't have time to get into it. But it's, as just a general rule of thumb for people to understand, that basically translates to what most states call first-degree murder. As I understand it, this is what the grand jury has decided. Maybe there's an aspect here that I'm misunderstanding. Perhaps it wasn't the grand jury. Perhaps it's what the prosecution is going to be going for. I'm not quite, I'm a little fuzzy on that. But I think it was the grand jury that decided that. So then you have a bunch of people going back and forth, and a lot of people on Twitter saying Carmelo's going to walk, it's self-defense. And what they're looking at is that in Texas, you have kind of a castle doctrine law. You have for a long time. Texas is kind of the one that really trailblazed this all the way from back in the days from before we're looking at here with Arthur. You know, in Texas, you mind your P's and Q's, or you'll find yourself picking up your teeth off the floor as a best case scenario. And the cops ain't going to do nothing about it. They're going to come, they're going to ask around what happened. This guy popped off at the mouth, and then that dude let him have it. And the cop's going to be like, hey, you brought that on yourself. That's how Texas works. You are responsible for your own actions. And you get effed up here in a real hurry for being rude, for popping off at the mouth.
We got the wrong man. You're after my brother.
And certainly, if you present any kind of threat to somebody. Did I kill that woman on accident? I don't know how that would have happened. He said they call you a woman killer. Huh. Maybe they was talking about the guy that they had tied up. So, point being, in Texas, the rules are pretty robust about you being able to use deadly force if you feel like your life is threatened. So that's what they're pointing to. They're saying it might even be true that deadly force wasn't warranted here, but Carmelo felt, as a young guy, as a kid, that he felt threatened, and therefore a tragedy happened, but he's not guilty. Under Texas law, because he felt his life was under threat, he responded appropriately, even if it was a mistake and it was a wrong perception versus the reality of the situation. Texas will allow for your perception in certain contexts to explain the force that you used. That's what I'm gathering. And as somebody who is from Texas, that kind of adds up. So that's where they're basing their idea off of. Okay, well, on that, what it's called in Texas is you do not have a duty to retreat. In other states, apparently in a lot of states, prior to using deadly force, you are required to seek alternatives. If you can defuse the situation and protect yourself by retreating prior to using deadly force, then you're required to do so. Texas ain't like that. I don't think Florida is either. In Florida, I think they call it stand your ground. But Texas says if your life is threatened, you have a right to take that dude's head off. And so that's what they're pointing at. Well, that's true. Texas does have that kind of a position. Okay, so I think I've given you a lot of context there, and it explains why the pro-self-defense argument is out there. The problem that these people are running into is they haven't really looked at the full law that Texas has. In addition to no duty to retreat, there's also premeditation factors at play here in this case, and there is what's called proportionality factors at play. And from what I understand, it's expected, like, I've seen a lot of former law enforcement officers weigh in on this, and they're like, this is clear-cut murder. Carmelo Anthony is going to prison. And it's because it is going to be a really hard uphill battle that's expected for the defense to prove. Are you upset? What are you? We must be going through gator country here. I can't get her to calm down. Let's get over here onto this road.
Easy, easy.
She's real agitated.
You can always rely on you, boy.
So, they're going to have a real strong uphill battle. That's like putting it mildly. To prove that Carmelo didn't have premeditation in mind, because he brought the knife, he put it in his backpack before going over to the other team's tent, which is itself insightful. It kind of looks like maybe he had a plan to agitate. And then he had his hand in the bag, and he told Austin, touch me and see what happens. So premeditation is the first uphill battle they have to face. And that's a tough one because, man, I am totally about you're innocent until proven guilty and everybody deserves a trial. That's American justice. Carmelo's no different. And I absolutely believe these are things that I've been willing to die for over the course of my life. But I'm saying it looks really, really bad. It does not look good for Carmelo Anthony. And the second thing is proportionality. Austin pushed him. In Texas, even though you have a stand your ground kind of doctrine, a castle doctrine, a no duty to retreat, you cannot respond to somebody pushing you with taking their life. That's illegal. You will be tried for murder. This is why I believe the defense is not going to go for a pure self-defense plea. They're more going for Carmelo. I believe they're more going to go for Carmelo reasonably felt, given all the conditions here, as a young person and inexperienced, was terrified and scared for his life and acted where he wasn't in his correct mental mindset. So that's like a sympathy. You're not using logos there. I can't remember what the Greek word is for emotion, but you're not using a logical argument. You're playing on the jury's sympathy. They're going to try and paint him like that. Now, from what I've heard, there's some tools that they have to do this with. I don't want to go into camp yet in case it sparks a cutscene. I've seen it widely reported that Carmelo was a 3.7 GPA student. That's not as good as Austin's 4.0, but it's still darn good. 3.7 is very good. It shows you're not a dirtball. you're going to graduate with honors. You know, you're not an academic slug. And that he was the captain of both the track and the football teams. Now, I have since heard none of that's true, that they're actually referencing a different Carmelo Anthony, that the name starts with C, and that this Carmelo Anthony, whose name starts with K, had a 1.7 GPA with 3 C's and a D, and was kicked off of his football team, did not have any football scholarships, as Austin was anticipating to get. They're saying that Carmelo has a future, that he has football scholarships coming in. And I'm hearing he does not. And that he was kicked off his team because of bad behavior. There were like 3 instances of violence and 2 more of, I don't remember what they called it, but it's basically like talking back to your coach or dereliction of duty. Maybe you skipped a team meeting or something like that. But all of it showing a kid that has poor character, a poor GPA, doesn't take school seriously, and has an attitude problem and a problem with authority. Now, I tried looking that up, and I couldn't find any evidence for it. So the court case is going to tell us which one of these things is true. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and as much as I think that the left has to manufacture racism because there's not enough of it to justify their narratives, that doesn't mean that there's not racism in America. So there's, you know, just as likely as white people who hate black people to create misinformation as the other way around, you know. So I believe that the court case will be able to easily show that, because they'll be able to pull the actual records from schools, and if any teachers are thinking of doctoring that, because teachers are overwhelmingly liberal and maybe they have white guilt and they have sympathy for Carmelo's plight, they can find themselves imprisoned. It's a big risk to take. So I think the court case will let that be known. But I think this is what the defense is going to go after. They're going to try and get the jury to feel sympathetic for a kid that has a future and that did good in school and that worked multiple jobs for his family and didn't have any prior arrests, and that this was all just a tragic misunderstanding, but that Carmelo was kind of understandably, given the context of this, that, and the other, that they're going to try and play the race card on, I'm sure, about black people having a hard time in America. I just think that this is the kind of thing that they're going to try and paint to get a sympathy vote for Carmelo to let him go, or to at least get it reduced, to get the charge reduced to something like manslaughter. But that proportionality issue is going to make it real difficult to do that. Austin Metcalf pushed him. Carmelo Anthony responded by plunging a knife in his heart. The fact, if I'm right on this, because I told you before I'm a little bit fuzzy, but if I'm right that it's the grand jury that decided, yes, we're going to go ahead and have a trial, and he's going to be tried for capital murder, that already indicates to me that the jury has looked at some, I guess, basic evidence that's been presented, that's available publicly right now, and said, this looks bad. We need to go ahead and put this on trial and see what the lawyers do with it. So just the fact that it came out with this heavy of a sentence, I think, is not going in the direction that the defense is wanting if the defense is going for a sympathy vote. Wow, look at that. Is that what in the world is that?
Whoa, easy.
Oh, a bear. Okay. A black bear.
Get up.
So, the only other factor left here is the factor that played a role in the George Floyd case, in the George Floyd case, the judge has now come out and said BLM really impeded that case. Witnesses came out and said they were scared. You know, so if there's huge amounts of riots and disruption, which, because I believe that there are background forces at play here that have no interest at all in race, but do have a heavy interest in pitting us against each other, and that they're really well funded, I would not be surprised if that's the case. It's going to matter as to whether or not a Texas jury has the sand to stand against all that. You know, so that's the one factor remaining that is kind of an unknown. But from what I have seen unpacked so far, after just kind of reading through all this last night, it looks like a really tough case for Carmelo Anthony. My personal opinion, whenever all the things that I've looked at, and I held this opinion before, is that it sure looks like an open and shut case to me. You got to have the trial because there could be things at play in the background that you're not aware of yet. But up front, it looks bad.
This is what it's come to. Huh, very bad.
Where can I turn in food? I need to follow our cook, honestly. Did he go inside this building? No, here he is. Okay, I need to follow him. Is he still setting up, maybe? Mary, I need to get by, honey. Oh, I think we're still setting up. I don't really have a place to donate. Well, we need to get rid of this carcass then. Let's just take it a little ways away from camp. I don't like being in the swamp, man. But
Okay, fella.
we're on the run. We're up well over an hour. We're pretty much done. If you don't want to hear any more, I don't know if I have any more to say, but we need to ride out a ways. I'm just gonna kind of double down on what I said. This looks like a pretty clear-cut case to me of a kid, for whatever motivations he may have had, just you know, like Austin Metcalf's dad came out and said this is not about race. I don't know about that, man. From what I understand, this kid's uncle has a rap sheet a mile long, and it's generally pretty true that the segment of the black population that is heavily criminal hates Whitey. They blame Whitey for just about everything. And it just isn't hard for me to imagine that maybe something happened. These are rival schools. I don't know. Maybe they played each other on the football field and Metcalf just hit the crap out of Anthony. You know, maybe, I don't know what position Anthony played. Metcalf was a linebacker. You know, I don't know, but it seems believable to me that, given the context of the uncle, that Anthony came home and complained about something, having a beef with this kid or something like that, or maybe even for no reason at all. Maybe just for the reason that here in America right now, black people, a certain part of the black population feel like they're getting racism every day, and they hate white people for it. You know, particularly white conservatives. But if you listen to Malcolm X, even white liberals. And so it seems like the uncle, it's very believable to me that the uncle stepped in and said, yeah, I know how you could kill that chalk demon and get away with it. Because if I remember right, some of the crimes that he's in trouble for has to do with race baiting and stuff like that. I don't know. I saw it once, and it was a while ago. But if I'm right about that uncle, man, I mean, it's just not looking... I mean, you stab a guy in the heart because he pushed you? No. You ain't thinking right, man. And it sure seems like it was premeditated. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It seems like it was absolutely premeditated, and that Carmelo did not go to that tent mistakenly, or whatever people want to say. Like, what? I haven't heard anybody defend that yet. What in the world was he doing at that tent? And then, especially after being told you're at the wrong tent, nobody has been willing to talk very much about that. That, to me, is leaning me even more towards the idea that Carmelo Anthony premeditated this and then went and picked a fight. Did something insightful, tried to stay real calm and play things in a certain way so that he could get away with it and justify it. And then whenever the cops got him, immediately said, hey, it was self-defense. And then disingenuously asked, is he gonna make it? Is he okay? Right, to try and lend credence to the idea that, oh snap, this went way further than I intended it to. I have absolutely no proof for that. None. It's just the way that the whole thing played out. It looks like that to me. So we'll see what the court case says, but I think this kid's going to jail. And because I'm a little bit confused how this one, because he's being tried as an adult. He is now turned 18 years old. He committed this crime when he was 17. But I think that the Supreme Court has a decision out that Texas has to follow that says a 17-year-old cannot be sentenced to execution or life without parole. Ordinarily, if Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of capital punishment in Texas as an adult, he would be executed. And if not executed, he would get life without parole. But from what I understand here, it won't be possible to do that with Carmelo because it happened when he was 17. So he'll get life with the earliest possible parole of 40 years. So by the time this is all done, I don't know how long this could take another year. He's 18 right now. Let's say that he goes into prison when he's 19. He's not looking at the possibility of parole till he's 59 years old. And my goodness, with this kid's temperament and judgment, which could change over the years, but look at all of the things that you can face when you're in prison. He might murder somebody in prison. That's gonna completely blow away his chance of parole. You're talking 40 years with an impeccable record. I don't see this kid achieving that. You know, so that's my opinion, with the adage that you have to have a trial. That I don't know for sure. I'm just saying it looks real bad. And I think that he's gonna be found guilty. He's gonna get prison for life with earliest parole chance being at 40 years. He'd be 59 years old by the time he can come out. And, you know, if it winds up being true that he's a 3.7 GPA with that a captain on his football team had scholarship offers, if all that ends up being true, this is a doggone shame. Right? This is absolutely a tragedy that this kid made that kind of a choice for whatever reasons that might exist. Maybe they had beef. Maybe we find out they had prior incidents with each other. I don't know, but this kid made a terrible choice, and I think he's gonna maybe not pay the iron price for it, as Game of Thrones says, but he's gonna pay. His life is over. And if he is found guilty, here's my position: if he's found guilty, fully guilty, like they don't reduce the charge, And depending on what the context is, if BLM riots like they did for George Floyd and it affects this case, I might not care what the verdict is. I might think that this thing got really ganged, like when the mafia used to threaten jurors, right? But assuming that we have a clean trial, if he's found guilty of capital murder, this dude's life is over, effectively. He's going to spend the greatest part of his remaining life in prison. And I think that the best case for him to be able to serve society, the most use, so I'm not talking about his best case, I'm talking about this is a guy that turned himself into a trash bag human being and became a dirtball to the point that we have to lock him away from society for the vast majority of the rest of his life. Then the best use that we can get from him is to serve as a warning in order to hopefully deter other people in similar circumstances. Remember, I said if it all ends up being true that he had a 3.7 GPA and that he's a captain on his football team, he had scholarship offers coming in, if all that's true, then he needs to serve as an example of what not to do for other young men that are in similar situations and that do not have the appropriate conflict resolution skills. Better learn it. Need is the mother of all invention. And that's what I would be looking to do, is to try and prevent the next kid that has a future from making bad decisions by scaring the hell out of them and giving them by scaring the hell out of them with what we do with this kid. And given the future speculative kid that I'm the scenario kid I'm talking about, the motivation to go and figure out another alternative. That's what I would hope. You know, if he's found guilty. So we'll see how it pans out. But that's the Carmelo Anthony situation in a nutshell for you. It's kind of a hot topic in the news right now. And we'll leave it at that. I'm at an hour 22. Let's go ahead and save this thing. Let's not, actually. I want to talk to Strauss and see if Arthur's got anything to say.
Herr Morgan?
Good to see you again, Mr. Strauss.
But under what circumstances?
No.
Okay, apparently not.
Okay. Guess I'll see you later then.
Yeah.
So Sadie said the Reverend has kind of cleaned his act up. So we'll see how things develop. We'll be doing the Dutch mission in the next episode for Friday. But let's save it. Actually, let's look at our player status. We're still underweight. We're probably going to be underweight for the rest of the game because we're sick now. Horse is fit, clean, and calm. Story. And we'll save this game. And we are now 61% through, guys. All right, again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw. More importantly, I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. And I'll see you in the next episode. The story continues.